Hello, everyone, and welcome to Heart and Hand Rangers podcast. My name is David Edgar, and as always, I am your host. And it's a very happy start to 2026 for us as Rangers fans. Too many times we've had to come on here after an Old Firm loss, a painful one in a game that mattered. So we're going to enjoy this one. And joining me, because they've been here for quite a few painful weeks, are first of all, Alan Bradley.
Hello, David. Happy New Year, everyone. Yeah, absolutely brilliant to be back. And it saves me doing the old guy moaning, David. I can actually talk about loads and loads of good stuff here.
Yeah, I think the three of us deserve this. And the other one who's also stood up to be counted after many a disappointing day this season is David Graham. Hello, Davey.
Hello, Davey. Hello, Alan. Hello, listeners. I used to say onwards and upwards, and certainly this is a very high bar and a great start to 2026.
1:30 on Saturday. I wasn't sure the show would be quite as much fun, if I'm being totally honest with you, as I always try to be. I'd kind of got sucked in a little bit. I felt at that point, felt like a sucker at that point, Davey, because I had seen improvements in Rangers. I didn't think that by any manner of means we were brilliant, but I'd seen improvements. I'd seen ability to gut out games, but there was this thing clearly that we hadn't won a big game under Danny Rule, and it was something that was being held up. And going to Parkhead is always our most difficult game. It just is, right, regardless. But I felt, given the circumstances that they were going through at the moment, that, yeah, look, we'll go there and we'll be professional and we'll get the victory. And the first half, it just followed so many disappointing days that we've had over there in the past, where the team just didn't show up and Celtic go into a lead. It had all the hallmarks of the games. It reminded me a lot of the Postecoglou games, where Rangers just didn't start. Celtic grabbed the momentum. They get a goal up. And I think probably the big difference in this one is they didn't get that second. Traditionally in these matches, when it's gone like that, Rangers have conceded with about 5 minutes to half time and killed the game. This didn't happen on Saturday, and that was huge.
Yeah, well, I think from my point of view, I thought for about the first 5 or 8 minutes, we actually started okay in terms of, like, you know, an Old Firm and trying to feel our way into the game. I think then for about the following 30 to 35 was in many ways some of the worst, as you say, Old Firm views that we have had in a long time. The goal in particular was, I think I described it in our group as the worst Old Firm moment since Forrester didn't pass to Miller. I think I was being somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but, you know, I actually, if you want to talk about being a sucker, I actually had a text written to my mate who is the loans manager at Spurs. And I'm paraphrasing because thankfully it didn't send because my phone died at half time. But it was something towards the effect of young Mikey struggling here. This might be a loan too early or something to that. Words that basically utter shite that shows that I know absolutely nothing about football. So thankfully I'm brought onto the free shows and subscribers don't have to pay to listen to me. Look, in reality, I think when you particularly take Tallow Asgard's first half performance, look, I don't want to sound negative because I think we always try to be balanced when it's awful. So I think we're never as, you know, good as when we say we're great, and we're never as bad as when we say we're awful. So I think if you know, very much a game of two halves. The first half genuinely, bluntly exposed a lot of our flaws to the point, and I know we will talk about the Aberdeen doubleheader, where, you know, you when you see the first half, you're not filled with a huge amount of confidence, and you can't, even though your heart wants to say we're going to win the league, your head is saying that was us at arguably our very worst. And I think only for the fact that they are equally as bad as us, if not actually worse, that game would have been out of sight. A much better side in green and white would have had us 3-0 down, and we would have been throwing the shark. So yeah, look, a game of two halves, and as I say, halftime. The last thing I'll say, sorry, is I think the goal, even though Chermiti was miles offside, I think the fact we were able to put the ball in the net was in some way give us a little bit of a sort of sense of positivity going into half time. Plus the fact that young lad who was caught in camera sticking up the middle finger, I hope you had a miserable weekend and a miserable day at school, son.
I'm sure he did, because I know exactly what Dave's talking about there, Alan, because I think there was a feeling of, look, we've been bloody awful here, but yet we've had two chances. Gassama, unlucky, it's a good save. Fair play to Kasper Schmeichel. It was a good save. He would, the real Kasper Schmeichel would show up in the second half, but and then the disallowed goal, and there was a sense of, if we can just get our shit together here, their defence is very much one that you can get at, and other teams have exposed that. But the manager admitted afterwards that they didn't get it right in the first half. The press was wrong, and it was. Rangers were going after them and leaving so much space in behind that it just felt like any ball was just causing us problems. Celtic were getting runners forward. It was simple. And then you saw their confidence grow. They did put together a few nice passing moves in the first half, and we were really struggling to cope with it. And we were indebted to Jack Butland, who I have to say has roared back from that Tynecastle game with some crucial saves over the last week.
Yeah, I'm just the same as you guys too. I mean, before the game, I'm always pretty pessimistic regardless. I was the guy when we won the league 3-0 at Parkhead at 2-0 at half time. Everybody was celebrating and I was doing it's no over yet. So I've always had that. I've had so many kind of scar tissues, some great victories, but I'm always a kind of wary. Like Big Davey said, the first 5-10 minutes, I'm thinking we're doing no bad. Went down the right hand side. It was a bit like the game last year under Wee Barry. And think we're taking it to them. And then they started just playing these balls down our left hand side, just in behind. Yeah, Celtic just seemed to come down their left hand side. They're playing this ball, fullback obviously a wee bit inexperienced, and obviously the whole going to Parkhead, But what was happening is Mikey Moore as well. He wasn't coming down all the time. They just kept playing it down there, and they were just getting fun in behind. Then it got to the stage where it was other side as well. Then it became Rangers players with divers boots, and Celtic basically just so much quicker at everything. I agree, if it wasn't for Jack Butland, it would have been done 4-0. Get to half time, I suddenly said to Margaret, I'm going out to read in from the shop. What are you doing? I just couldn't watch it, so nervous. But the one thing I did have in my mind was, hold on a wee minute here, it is only one, we could sneak something out of it. And obviously, that's what happened. Second half was just magnificent, and all credit to the manager as well. Asgard, oh my goodness, it's just not the game for him. Everything just passes by. And I thought to actually make that one change, put Dio, who, by the way, for the past couple of weeks had been pretty shocking.
Hopeless, yeah.
And yet Asgard were going, that's him, he scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
But Dio came on, the energy and everything in the middle, the way we changed the shape. Wee Barron as well was phenomenal. Raskin further forward as well.
Yeah, Raskin.
He looks real quality when he's there rather than doing that 6. And again, it was just magnificent watching it. It was like a Walter one as well. We go to Parkhead, we've kind of rid the storm. And I love the thing about the manager too, about this whole, we could go along whatever, it's all about winning. And he's now channeling Big Jock, he's channeling Walter, and it's just a case of the one thing you've got to do is we've got to win everything, win every ball, drive. And it just looked, second half, it just looked like a decent Rangers team, didn't it? And they just couldn't cope with us at all. Yeah.
Davey, the Asgard thing is interesting because he picks up an early booking. And by the way, I don't have any objection to that being given as a booking. What I do have an objection to is that 2 Celtic players commit the same offence and don't get booked. And that has a material effect in the game because he can't challenge. And obviously, he sent off in the last Old Firm game, so it was in his head. You could see that. Now, it's still a poor performance from him, and his head went. I don't think there's any doubt about that. That pass he plays where he turns and we're in our own half and he kicks it right across our 18-yard line. That's not thinking. That's just clearly a frazzled mind, and he was right to come off. But it's wee things like that change the game. They can then keep making those tackles. We can't. It's an impediment.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Picking up an early Old Firm yellow card is not uncommon. Andy Halliday and Patrick Roberts, Kyle Bartley and Scott Brown. There are many others. I think it was the manner of which he picked up his yellow card, because it was soft, wasn't it?
Mm.
And I think you're right. That then sort of handicaps him. It's very obvious in the goal. Now, to be fair, he wasn't the only player to. I made a list of almost 6 players who need to shoulder at least some of the blame for that particular goal. But yeah, he in many ways, if I'm honest, and in the first half, and I know I'm in danger of sounding a bit negative here, but the weaknesses of our summer and the players that we brought in were exposed in that first half, and I think and look, I always say this after an Old Firm, but we've never replaced a Stephen Davis in these for situations like this, or even in a different way, a Ryan Jack. Although we Baron did kind of run around and did a fairly effective job, but yeah, we still struggle to get control of an Old Firm, whether that be at Hampden, Parkhead, or Ibrox, and I think it comes down to, and is epitomised by someone like Tello Asgard, who I think the jury is very much still out on, if we're honest.
David, I
Yeah,
think when
definitely.
we've got control in some of these other games, these type of players like Asgard, yeah, it's okay, it's fine. They can sort of dictate things. But at an Old Firm game, as you say, you need your Stephen Davis, your Ryan Jack, your Ian Fergusons. You need people that really up a gear again. Some of these players can't do it, and I think it just passes by them. And I think that's the big difference. Whereas if you do have those experienced players, but also the ones that can go, it's going up a game, that's fine, it's going up at pace. And as I say, that's where I think Asgard, I think he fell out. And Diamande, as we said, David, the last couple of weeks, it was like, oh my goodness. But it's funnily in some of the kind of Parkhead stuff and that, he has actually shown more energy and even just pressing. And I think the rest of them then, you saw Rangers, we pressed so much better second half, and Celtic couldn't cope with that.
Yeah, definitely, Alan. And I think that, in the first half, as I say, there's a litany of chances. They didn't get the second, and it would have been crucial. I mean, it's a mountain to climb. Although, I will say this, that, confidence in football is huge. And I think as soon as we got back into the game, we saw that they didn't have any, and we were able to take advantage of it. But obviously, it's a lot easier to do that with one than it is from two. And I do think, as I go back to Davy's point, that getting that goal was absolutely crucial, or that offside goal, sorry, because it did show them. And the manager spoke about it afterwards. He was saying to boys, look, one chance here and we're right back in it. And then the second half started, and Celtic had a chance early, and then it just all flipped. And it flipped because the system Rangers had tweaked to. This is why Diamande drives me nuts, by the way, because he can do it.
I know.
That's the thing. There are players that are just bad, right? They're just not very good, not at our level. He can do it, and he does do it in big games, and then I see him absolutely disappear or being rotten against lesser teams and at Ibrox, and I think you drive me nuts. But there was an understanding. The three of them were moving in tandem. One would go, or two would go, one would hold, and suddenly there's a balance in there. And then I totally agree with Alan, Davey. Up steps Nico Raskan. Brilliant. We did a live show with John Brown, and he said, look, the hardest tactic for a defender to defend against, lads, is somebody getting to the byline and cutting it back. He says, if somebody gets to the byline first and cuts it back, you're in bother as a defender because you need to be perfect. And if you're not, you're in trouble. And the fact that Celtic had only played, with one recognised centre back, not very good one as well, if we're being honest, then Rangers take the opportunities. Brilliant play by Diamande, by Raskin to set it up. But what a finish, by the way. I mean, at first you think that's a tap, and then you see it. The foot movement, absolutely terrific.
Yeah, it's the sort of chance he probably would have missed, God bless him, a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, he's actually done much better there, and I know we'll get on to talking about him in a moment. But Big Chermiti's taking the chance well. But I think it's, look, again, without sort of thumping the badge, you need players to just stand up and be counted and be brave. Ryan Kent, if you remember, in both the old format in December 18 and at Parkhead December 19, where he has been brave and he's stepped up and he's either assisted with a chance or he's taken a chance. You need Raskin that's just grabbing the game by the scruff, isn't it? And driving into a positive area and putting the ball into the corridor of uncertainty, if you want to put it that way, where it's just a case of getting the nick and you're in the back of the net. And I think at that moment, look, I wasn't at the game, but I got a sense just rewatching it when I was back in the comfort of my own home. I think that there is no doubt they were itching. The crowd were itching, and it was almost where, and we've probably been in these sort of moments ourselves as well, where they're so angry that even the smallest thing has clearly tipped the stadium. And I assume the players are able to feel that and hear that at the offside goal. And I think that's right. It was part of the team talk. Listen, lads, if we can get a goal here, this game's going to change. And it did. It flipped right in its head.
I really did. But I then really want to praise Yusuf Chermiti. Now, look, I've sat here and criticised him on this show. And I think deservedly, because he looked very poor. Now, it wasn't his fault that he cost £8 million. We know that. Farewell, who I think will be sitting feeling quite smug somewhere, but still wasn't. He has no right to, quite frankly. But that second goal, Alan, right? Throw into Celtic. Okay, it's not a great throw in. It's one of ours actually. And he goes in, he wins it, and he just hairs off. He doesn't score this goal, I don't think, unless he scores the first, because I think he then looks up and plays it into the middle, as a guy with a lack of confidence would do. Just I'll try and find somebody. But he looks up, sees, hang on, there's nobody here, and I'm quicker than everybody else, so he runs. Trusty makes an absolutely bizarre decision to hang about in the middle waiting for a cross.
Towards Barron, who, by the way, Barron had done great with that run.
Yeah, Barron's making the run, and that's who Trusty decides to focus on, leaving an enormous amount of space, you have to say. But again, this is them not playing with another actual central defender in there. And in runs Yusuf Chermiti, thinks, I'm just going to have a shot here. Beautifully placed shot. Schmeichel gets a hand on it, can't keep it out. This is a stunning goal. And look, comparisons have been drawn and they're very accurate. Kuzan's goal at Parkhead in the 4-2.
Even Big Catley.
It was just a powerful player.
Yeah, Big Catley in a couple of times as well. Same David Parkhead. Yeah.
It was just a powerful player going, screw this. I'm doing this. And boom, he's done it. He's arrived. And look, quickest way to any Rangers supporter's heart, do it against that lot in that stadium.
David, the past few games, I think against Motherwell as well, we were like, we go on the bus, the usual supporters bus, what do you think? And it's like, the guy put in a great shift, he held it up, he's beginning to put himself about, aye, but he's not scoring, and that's the basics, and we go, yep. And then the same last week as well. Last week it was phenomenal watching him running. Rangers were using him as the kind of the ball out. He was going up there, he was holding it, he was laying it off. He'd done all of that really good stuff. And in the bus on last week, we were saying that this sounds strange, but by the way, see at Parkhead, wouldn't it be great if he could just get one off his backside, because he's just beginning to move in that direction. Well, fortunately, he got two crackers, didn't he? But again, we know it's only a couple of goals and whatever. But the other thing too, the kind of smugness you can imagine Thelwell and that. To be perfectly honest with you, though, it's Danny Roll that's actually got this guy. He's got him. He's done it with a number of individual players, and he's gradually done you need to do a wee bit more of this, and you can see noticeable improvement in a number of them. And he said, and the goals will come. I mean, Thelwell had him for a period of time. There was nothing, like that at all. So. But no, I mean, I think we've definitely. It was just he arrived, didn't he? And hopefully he'll go and do well. But we'll talk about this one, believe it or not, is the Chermiti game at Parkhead.
No, 100%. You get an old firm game named after you. You're doing well. And as I say, that second goal, and then suddenly the air just, the Rangers supporters, we're in dreamland. We're going, the big man is dominating them, which he was. He's one thing I'd agree with you on there, Alan, is what Danny Roll's got him doing is he's saying, look, you're big and strong and quick.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Go out and battle these guys. And he did that in the second half, and Trusty just didn't want a part of it. You could see that. And then you're thinking at that point, Rangers, don't sit back because we're not good enough defensively. The moment, Davey, I thought we're winning this game was when Maeda had a chance not long afterwards, and he hits a first-time shot. He takes it really well, gets it on the half volley, and it goes inches past the post. And I thought, that goes in for them when things are going their way. We're winning this game. And a few minutes later, Rangers go up the park, win the ball high up, and then we move it quickly. Lovely assist from Gassama to Mikey Moore. He gets the shot off. And look, the Celtic have got a French character in goal these days, big fat goalie, who clearly, I think, has a shoulder. He does not want to go down his shoulder in a few, but watch his dive. He goes down in installments. He does because he wants to land on his hip and then extend his arm. And you can see that. And by the time he's done that, the ball's in the back of the net. And it's 3-1. Mikey Moore's up in the Rangers support. Gives the policeman the wee side step to arrive in there. Boom, 3-1. Game's done. They knew it. We knew it. It was great.
Yeah, well, I think regarding Schmeichel there, it appears that it's a season too long. He's overstayed his welcome, and he's not the first goalkeeper to have done that. I think to go back to the chance or the missed chance for them of Maeda, you're right. They seem. It appeared, and I suppose you could say that there was they always get the rub of the green, but they now are, it's a sign of strength in adversity and all the various cliches. I've always maintained that they got it easy and have got it easy against us. Probably bar that bit of time where Steven Gerrard had sort of got the better of them for a period of games. They've had it over us since we returned to the top division in 2016. As soon as now, and I've convinced myself of this many times, if we can put any sort of pressure on them, not just in individual firms, but also across the period of season, they can be got at. I thought, Callum McGregor has marched around many a game, like Zinedine Zidane or Andre Pirlo. Again, very quiet. And I think you're right. If that goal goes in, that makes for a hell of a contest for the neutral. It doesn't. And I think, we took that opportunity, took it really well. And I think as Maggie Murs going out in a relationship with Warren Feeney's daughter, as I know the media has picked up on, and Warren's a very good friend of mine. And as I text Warren on Saturday night, I said words to the effect of, he's one of us now, and he's one of us forever. I didn't mention to Warren about the text I was going to send about him in the first half, but and on a serious point, he on a serious point, he has shown his ability, and I think actually shown he's a bit of what we would suppose say in Scotland, a bit of a sort of gallus attitude.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. I think he's shown them zero respect, and I really hope, look, I think in reality he won't be back next season. I suspect his next destination will be top end of the Championship, maybe even bottom end of the Premiership.
Yeah,
but
I think it'll be a
I just hope that it sets. Yeah, I think hopefully it sets the next 4 months and gives him a real opportunity, because actually if that young lad does start to play anywhere near his reputation, he could have a crucial role in us winning the league,
Yeah, I think he's got balls, and that's not something that you always associate. I'm going to sound like a terrible old man shouting at the clouds here, but a lot of younger players these days don't really have. They need to be shown and handheld, and he doesn't. And he's came through this phenomenally difficult, toxic opening spell of his Rangers career, and he's like that, and it's wanting the ball. And he wasn't great on Saturday. I'm not going to sit here and say he was, but he popped up with a big moment, and he's going to be guys who do that.
Yeah, he's going to be stronger. I mean, you guys keep stuff in the chat. I don't, but I do remember when we first got him on loan, there was a 7 or 8 minute usual YouTube. Everybody looks great, and I remember putting in the chat, this guy just looks. I mean, see if you see Gaza, he was going through the middle, he was beating 1 or 2 different players, his upper body strength was looking so good, he was finishing, he was 2-footed, and he was always looking for the ball. And if anybody goes back and looks, you can type in his name and you see him playing some stuff with Tottenham, some with England under whatever's against Portugal. And at the time I thought, what a player. And then what happened was Martin gets him and he puts him out in the wing, and he's so disappointing. The minute you put brought him in. And that's where I talk about this manager that we've got as well. It was so obvious. You've got a guy there. How do we link up front to, from the back midfield? You've got this guy who is brave, and like Big David would say, and he just turns around and it's give me the ball. And at times he'll go by, you might not get it, but he'll keep going. And he just shows that it's that whole Gallus thing. And unfortunately, we're not going to get him back. And he's going to be so much this experience. They always talk about maybe come up here, get a bit of experience at Rangers. The experience he's gained through all the adversity, the likes of playing in games like this under the fan base. And so this guy's just going to go on, And I do take your point. There's been games where he's been disappointing. He's lost it, but he's definitely got that kind of special quality, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the Spurs are a bit, that's why, that he's likely to be moving on, because he's, Spurs know what they've got there and they're very excited about it. That's why when he came on loan, there was no chance that it was going to be a permanent deal. Obviously, I mean, they rate him about 20 million before he kicked the ball up here, so that probably tells you.
He's an intelligent, articulate guy as well, David. When you see him interviewed, what I mean. He's not daft. No,
I agree with that. He's bright, and it's good stock he's marrying into as well. So. That will set him in good stead for the future. But yeah, Rangers saw it fairly comfortably, I thought. And it was, look, I'm going to be a bit triumphalist here, Davey. After the amount of drubbings we've had there over the last few years, to see some of their players like McGregor and Tierney and Ralston chucking it because they knew they were beat was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, well, these boys have been allowed to create a bit of sort of legendary status within their own heads. And that's been based on the fact that we have sadly, more often than not, failed to turn up at that ground.
So poor, Davey, weren't we? Yeah.
And I think that that's a challenge for Danny Rowe moving forward, where you've two more Old Firms for the end of the season, and that last one at Parkhead could be absolutely crucial. So I think that there is no doubt now, and I know that, look, we always need to have one eye in the past, one eye in the future and all the rest, but I think that the next run of games is absolutely crucial, because they will clearly be hurting now. They clearly have a manager in the dugout that, let's be honest, one of their players pretty much said, well, we've got him, so we're going to have to put up with him. There is serious issues behind the scenes at that club.
That was amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Never heard anything like it.
I know. Imagine.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, their player McCown, I think, was asked about, do you back the manager? And they said, well, we have to. He's the manager. What else can we do? These are quotes. I'm not, it wasn't, he basically said that. That's what he said.
Yeah. And I think that there is a real toxicity there that is not going to get any better. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it gets 10 times worse. But there's a real opportunity for us there, because I think for the first time in a long, long time, we have them properly on the ropes. But look, it's now up to ourselves to move forward and build momentum from here.
And we do need to bear in mind as well that this team that we've got is Danny Rowe. This isn't a great Rangers team, and he's done so well to get. We do need to go on, and we need to improve the squad, and we need to keep winning as well. And we're not that kind of forgetful, aren't we? When you think of even under Gerrard, when a couple of them we get to Christmas time and it's whoa, everything's great. Then we go to Rugby Park and so on.
Correct.
And that's where Danny Rowe. We've got Aberdeen tomorrow, then Aberdeen again, and we've just got to keep doing that. And whether it's by hook or by crook, we just win games ugly. But to me, Rangers, that's what we need to do. We're by no stretch of the imagination a way ahead or anything, but my God, we've done so well to be back in a title race now. If we can just focus now, my goodness, we've definitely got a right good chance, haven't we?
Alan, I think you're entirely right, where we've been in this situation so many times. I think particularly, if you recall the trip to Dubai at the winter break 2019 into 20, where, we came off the back of a win at Parkhead and we thought, right, we're on the up. And I think by the time COVID hit, I think probably there was question marks over the manager's position, if you recall. I think that's our challenge, and again, I was determined, and I know Saturday night, Davey, I was declaring my undying love to you and anybody else that was in communication with me.
Nice.
But that was, I'm a lover, not a fighter, as we know. But I just think that the key thing, the key thing is that we must remember, we are much more like the first half on Saturday than we were in the last half hour. And this is me being negative, but Tynecastle, Budapest,
Correct.
Canada,
Not 2 weeks ago,
even in the last, say, 6 weeks, so if we take all December into January, we've been, even when we've won, we haven't won particularly well. I think Saturday was the first time where actually we came off the pitch, setting aside the opposition, we came off the pitch properly, pleased and buzzing with our performance the second half. But, I do think we'll have to just be mindful of, we collectively shot the bed for a good 30 to 40 minutes in the first half on Saturday, and we did the same at Tynecastle, and we are liable to do it again. So I think unless we get significant, and I'm not saying a dozen players, unless we get significant signings, and what I mean by that is 2, 3, 4 starters that literally can come in and start the next game. I think that's the only way we can give ourselves a realistic chance of silverware at the end of the season.
And I didn't want to make it negative at all, David, but I think that's the reality. If we go tomorrow and we drop points against Aberdeen, it's a bit like the old tennis. You've broke a serve, you need to win the next one. And to me, Rangers, we just need to do that step by step. But we need to improve the squad, the team, and so on. But the main thing is we've just got to keep it. And as Big Davey said as well, I think the pressure, we don't need to do anything else. Rangers just get our 3 points and get on. The pressure will fall on Celtic, it'll fall on Hearts or whatever. We've just got to take care of our own business. That's all, yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely crucial. And you just need to keep making sure that you pick up the points. Take it a game at a time. I know it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason, because it's very, very good advice. The next game is the most important. Saturday was lovely, and we as fans deserve to celebrate it, but it's done. It's gone.
Yeah.
Right, and it's a one-off, and it's been and gone, and you've had that now. Now it's about Aberdeen. We've got a double header. Don't even look to the second one. The first one's all that matters, and we'll take things from there. Right then, folks, that's almost us for this week's show. Be back next week. Cammy will be here later in the week with Heart and Handy Extra, where he looks back at an Aberdeen game and ahead to an Aberdeen game due to the strange fixture quirk that has come up. Just a wee reminder that on Friday night, myself, Stevie Clifford from Four Lads, and CJ Novo, along with Mark Haitley, will be taking to the stage at Edmiston House. Last few tickets available. Please come along and see us. It promises to be an excellent night. And let's face it, we all need something to look forward to at the end of this first week back. My thanks to our producers in London, Mike Lee and Paul Myers. And my thanks to our wonderful guest, first of all, David Graham.
Thank you, Davey. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, listeners. And the next game's the biggest game.
Always. And thank you to Alan Bradley.
Yeah, thanks, David. Thanks, Big Davey, as well. And it's great for us being on, Davey, with a positive one, isn't it? Rather than, what a difference, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, well done to the Teds. Let's keep the foot down. Let's keep moving. Let's get a few signings in the door, please. And we will be back next week. Until then, have a good one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.